Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. Today I was a little productive, so I didn't necessarily get to study the element we were actually supposed to go over. Silver today. I'm human, right? Every now and again I slip up and I don't do my part for the topic, and the creator will give me something in place of the topic for the day, right? A lot of the times I may have something in mind and the creator's like, no, I don't want you to talk about that, talk about this today. But however it goes, whatever we discuss for the day, the creator is making sure that I'm discussing something that he wants me to discuss. And that's kind of what this topic is about today. We discussed, I believe it was 9/11, how, the spirit of manipulation, just brings in different illusions. People may copy, people may imitate, right? These are all tactics to extract energy, right? From one place to another. This evening, all day today, I hung out with one of my childhood friends. We have been together the whole day. I haven't hung out with him for years, right? And it just really made me look at the things that I used to do, the things that I'm doing now, the things that pushes me, or not even just me, right? Us as a people, that pushes us in certain places and environments. I'm sorry, I had to send to my phone, and I'm so sorry for the background echo, right? But I just wanted to make sure we are reminding ourselves of life, right? Don't take life too serious, and really just try to hone in on the things that make you happy. Sometimes when you get into the spiritual lane and the spiritual journey, it's really hard to live like a normal life, right? And we talked about the rose-colored glasses and not taking them off, and being out into the world and learning how to separate the two. But with that ability to make the great distinction between the spiritual and the physical, you have to remember that you're human, right? You have to remember that although we are spiritual beings having these spiritual experiences, we're still human. And in this dimension, we have a dual responsibility, right? One side of the coin is to worship the creator, find out what our path is, but the other is to simply live. And I think sometimes being around old friends, being in old environments, if they're not toxic, can help you. And even if they are toxic, if you're vibrating at a particular level, then one or two things are going to happen. It's going to propel you further, or it's going to pull you down. It's not really too many other things to take away from going into environments that you've grown from, right? You can reflect, or you can fall back into old patterns, right? This all depends on the work that you're putting into yourself, right? The energy that you're investing in excelling and progressing. Like I said, after hanging out today and just being in an environment that I'm familiar with, it really allowed me to see how much I've grown spiritually, but it also reminds me of the fun that's required. Even when you are a spiritual being, you have to enjoy life, right? This zest and this zeal for life is necessary. I mean, even going through like the battle, right? The spiritual warfare, there is a definite time for warring. There's a time for rest. There's a time for peace. There's a time for everything, right? And you have to know in your spirit when it's just time for you to take a break from everything that reminds you of the chaos related to the unseen, right? Because as much as we would like to believe that the spirit world is so fun and it's fine and it's dandy, it's very chaotic, right? So if you have to be warring in the spirit all the time, you have to always have your guard up in the physical, this puts you in a state of distress, right? So I think that the key is really, really to keep yourself level and balanced out, right? And just being able to see, the life in things, the ability to appreciate, being able to literally smell the roses, literally interact, with the animals, feed the birds, feed the stray cats. And I think we talked about how those bring in so many blessings. But if you're operating on a certain spiritual level, those things should really bring you real joy. I mean, being in tandem with nature. And I think the hardest part is getting back to the fulfilling energy once you've gone through all of the warfare. So it's important for you because, once you go through all this warfare, they're like, stay away from the past and all the people of the past and let the people go and move on. And yes, that may be true. However, within those blessings, right, sometimes the devil will attempt to remove the people that are also supposed to go with you because they're an instrumental part of your purpose in your journey. So you have to really be able to make the distinguishing differences between the people that are not supposed to go and the people that are supposed to go. Everybody's going to hurt you. Everybody's going to make you feel away every now and again. There are different levels to betrayal. Of course, there are different levels in, tolerance as far as your tolerance is concerned. Everyone has things that they can forgive where others may not. So all of those things vary upon you and your journey and your ability to see things from the brighter side, right? Once you have that bird's eye view, it's easier to make those decisions. It's easier to forgive people, whether you're going to let them back in or not. Remember, the devil's job is to confuse and destroy, right? So if he's putting people in, right, even if God did remove people, everybody was removed so you can only have that relationship with him, right? There's this season where you build with God and it's just the two of you. And then when it's time to get back to the peace and joy and the zeal of life and reality, right? Because at the end of the day, we can't meditate 24/7. We have to get out into the world and apply our gifts and be of service to one another. So when you get out into the real world and you're just reminded of the things that make you happy, the things that make you dance, the things that, make you want to enjoy and see more of people in life, you have to remember that this journey, you are to be accompanied by other souls that are compatible for your journey, not for you to date, not to fall in love with, not to have children and build families, but people whose energy are crafted to tag along. Those are your soulmates, right? And sometimes the devil will trip you up and have you decide to not allow those energies back in once God has opened you back up to the dunya, right? So this all is contingent upon your relationship with not only yourself, but definitely, most definitely with God, right? Your job is to build yourself up to a place where your gifts are freely used. And it doesn't matter the environment. It doesn't matter. I mean, of course, if God doesn't want certain people, to see those things, or if he doesn't want you to cast, casting your pearls to swine, or like just wasting energy, right? Using your gifts and blessings on nastiness, basically, right? And if you are truly anointed, if you're truly walking with God, if you're truly battling in the spirit, then it's really hard to say no, especially when you can see that a person can use a little bit of good energy. And this all goes back to, again, your discernment, your relationship with the Creator, your ability to make the distinction between things that are supposed to be there and things that are not, right? According to the Creator and your journey and your purpose. Because we did talk about soulmates, but not in this sense, right? We just talked about how animals and different people can be your soulmates, like coworkers and neighbors and things like that. But when it comes to actually opening yourself back up to come and start being of service, this is very important, because there's a defense that comes with spiritual warfare, right? And it makes it really hard to open up and drop your guard to things that may have been sent by the Creator. So you have to make sure that you're not pushing away your blessings. You have to make sure that your discernment is not being confused, right, and manipulated by the enemy. You have to make sure that you are readily available, right? And we talked about being on standby. And if you're on standby, this is one of those things that you're going to struggle with, because you're constantly waiting for the Creator to give you something, and then you have to dissect it. If you're in delay, the safest thing about this is, the Creator is not ready. He's still crafting on you. So that a lot of the things, you don't even need to be dealing with it at that time anyway, right? Overall, the idea that you, right, yourself are going to be doing something for people, you have to keep that in mind, that you are doing something for God. When you're doing things for God, you're usually helping people, and you have to shake off. I'm not saying don't be on point. I'm not saying ignore red flags. I'm not saying don't follow your first thought. I'm not saying that. I'm saying make sure that within your discernment, it's God telling you, yes, it's okay to be around this person. No, don't be around that person. Don't go there. Yeah, you can forgive them and let them back in, or no, forgive them and let them go. There's a big difference between knowing that someone is supposed to be on the journey with you, and God wanting them on that journey with you, but them not being ready because they're going to mess up whatever it is you're doing, and just a big fat no. Like, there's 3 distinctions. And if you're not careful, you can cross up the ties between the 3. Okay? So before we go, I just wanted to say, as you get back into the spiritual world, you have to learn to drop your guard, and you have to open yourself up to where the Creator is taking you, and just trust that you're okay. And everybody's not out to get you. And no, you're not always right. A lot of the times you are, but you're not always right. And just trust that God is making things happen for you. And everything's not going to happen in your timing. Like, you have to realize that God has His own timing, right? And it may not always be in alignment with yours, but you have to learn how to be comfortable and okay with doing what it is that God needs you to do, so you can reap the full benefit of the blessing, right? But I'm going to end here. I do love y'all. Get out there, have some fun, enjoy life. I definitely have to take this message for myself, because, yeah, Life is like that. But I love y'all. Drink y'all water, eat y'all fruit and vegetables, and get some sleep.